On this video, I'm continuing the study, grammatical analysis and commentary of the book of Job. We have worked our way up through Job chapter 9, and we're picking it up at verse 27. In this passage, Job basically is in the process of denying divine justice on his behalf. And so he's driving home to his friends that thought. We've already looked at his statement of helplessness before God's infinite might. And now he's talking about the whole idea of divine justice that seems to be lacking in his case. So this brings us up then to where we stopped, and that is in verse 27. He has talked about basically how the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and that both the innocent and the guilty suffer in life, the righteous as well as the innocent. In other words, it's not like his friends are saying only the guilty suffer. So then he also had talked about in verses 25 and 26 how life is swifter than a courier, a runner. They flee away. And then how it's swifter than swift ships, papyrus type ships that move quickly through the water. And also life is like an eagle swooping down on its prey quickly. So life is very quickly gone. He's using all of these different illustrations to drive home the brevity of life. The runner, the courier, the swift ships, and finally the vulture sweeping down on its prey. How quickly that happens. That's the way life goes, he's saying. And we talked about everyone experiences that. No matter how long one lives, it seems like it's like a vapor. Then we move on to verse 27. Im omri eshkacha sicha. If I might say, I will forget my complaint. Omri is a cow infinitive construct with the first person singular pronominal suffix. So if to say with reference to me, or my saying, I will forget my complaint, if I should say that. That's the thought here. I will put off my sad countenance, and I will smile. Even then, it won't work, is what he's saying. Eshkava is from the root shachach, to forget. It's a cow imperfect, first common singular from shachach. So if I should forget my complaint, I will put off or leave my face. And I think here it's like my sad face because of what I'm going through, and I would smile. Even then, it doesn't seem, Job is saying, that it's going to work. Notice ezveh is from the root azav, to forsake. It's a cow imperfect, first common singular, from the root azav, to forsake. So if I forsake, literally my face, and I think the thought is my sad countenance, and I would cause to smile, I would be of good cheer. Avliga is from the root balag, to smile. It's a hiphio imperfect first person singular, common singular from balak. So let's assume I try to do that, he's saying. I am still afraid that all of my pain would still be there. Notice verse 28. Let me just say a word about 27 here, or 28, excuse me, 27. This verse concludes the if clause of verse 27. That is 28. So the if is stated, and now we see the conclusion in 28. Yagorti hol atzavotai. I am afraid. I am very much terrified by all of my pains. Yagorti is from yagar, to be afraid. It's the cow perfect first common singular from yagar. I am afraid of all of my pains. And I know, yadati kilo tenakeni. I know that you will not hold me innocent or guiltless. I know, he's saying, even though I try to smile, I know you will not hold me guiltless. Yadati is the cow perfect first common singular from yada. That lo tenakeni is from the root naka, to be innocent. Here we have a cow or a pl imperfect second masculine singular from naka, a lamed he verb, to be innocent. And notice the shava pathak, doubling of the middle radical in the kof, indicative of the pl stem. So it's the pl imperfect, as we said, second masculine singular, followed by the hinge in the ain, and then the e, the pronominal suffix first person singular. So verse 28 then is really concluding the if clause of 27. Although Job would take courage and seek to be happy, his joy, he says, is driven away by the realization that God would still not hold him guiltless. In other words, he can put on a smiling face, but it won't change his pain and the fact that God would not hold him guiltless. So then we move in his argument to verse 29. Anochi ersha, I shall be condemned. Lama ze hevel iga. Why do I grow weary and labor in vain? Why? Trying to find my innocency, because God won't allow it, I think is the thought. Notice Anochi is emphatic, I, and then Ersha, I will be condemned, be seen as wicked no matter what I do. Job is saying. Rasha is the root. Ersha is the cow imperfect first common singular from Rasha. I will not be, or I shall be condemned. Lama zehevel iga. Why then? Why this vanity do I grow weary, or am I toiling for what seems to be fleeting and simply like the wind, a vanity? Iga is the cow imperfect first person singular from yaga, to grow weary. So in verse 29, Job submits to God because He knows that God is more powerful, but he is not convinced that God is right and that he is wrong. But why am I laboring for this? I'm going to be condemned anyway, seems to be his thought. So then in verse 30, im tetrachatsati b'mei shalik. That is, if I wash myself with water of snow waters. Notice hit rachatsati is with the conditional clause here is the hit pi l imperfect first common singular from rachatz. So if I wash myself, b'mei is the way I would read this shalik, with water of snow. And even if I try to be clean, v'hazikoti bavur kapai, and I make clean with lye my hands. Notice hazikoti is from the double ayin root zakach, to make clean. It's the hifil perfect first common singular from zakach. So if I should make my hands with lye, clean with lye, even that will not work because you would plunge me in a ditch even, he's saying. Notice as we continue on in verse 31, even though he tries to make himself clean, God would make it so he would not be. Notice verse 31. Az b'shachat tit baleni. That is, yet in a ditch you would dip me. Tit baleni is from tabal, to dip. It's the cow imperfect second masculine singular from taval, followed by the e, the pronominal suffix first common singular, with the hinge in the aim. So in other words, you would still dip me in a ditch, even though I would try to clean myself. Vata azvuni salmotai, and my own clothes, even they would abhor me, because of you would make me dirty. So even my own clothes would abhor me. The root is ta'av, to abhor. It's a cow imperfect third feminine singular from ta'av, to abhor. So even my own clothes would abhor me. As we look at this text, literally with snow water, as we said, if I wash myself with water of snow. Though Job washed himself, he's saying in verse 30, with snow water, and though he made his hands clean with lye. Lye was a plant, an ash plant with alkali and water. Even if I did that, yet God would plunge me into the ditch, the dirty ditch, causing him, Job is saying, causing me to become dirty, that even my own clothes would not want to cover me because I was so dirty. So no matter what Job would do, he believes that God would only condemn him. And so we pick up then in the next verse, verse 32. Ki lo ish kimoni anenu, for he is not a man as I am, that I might answer him. In other words, God is not human like I am, a man, that I can even answer him, that I may answer him. Notice aneni is from ana. It's a lamed hey verb, cow imperfect, first common singular from ana, and n is the hinge. And what you had here historically would have been ne, nen, who. And the who, the hey, we could say, of the who, the pronominal suffix, third masculine singular, as assimilated by reverse assimilation back into the noun, so that I would answer him. So we're looking here at a cow, as we said, imperfect first common singular from ana, the lamed hey verb. And then navo yachdav bamishpat, that we might come together in judgment. Navo is from bo. It is a cow imperfect first common plural, or first person plural, from bo, that we might come together in judgment. He's not a man that I can meet him and come together with him and expect to get a fair judgment, Job is saying. So verse 33, he continues. Let me just say a word about 32, though. Job feels the futility of coming against God as a plaintiff or as a defendant, for it would be an unfair law court. This is what he is reasoning. So then, verse 33, Lo yesh beinenu mochicha, there is not between us one who causes to decide, or one who decides. In other words, we don't have an umpire, one between us that will cause to decide. Mochicha is from the root yakach, to decide, or umpire. Here we have a hifil participle, a masculine singular from shachach, that he would cause to decide. Historically, this would have been a pei vav verb, and if we're looking at the mem of the prefix of the participle, the aw comes together and forms a holem vav in this pl participial form. So it would have been malchicha. So there is no one to decide between us, no umpire, no mediator, who might place yashed yado al shenenu, that he might lay his hand upon the two of us. Yashit is the hifil imperfect third masculine singular from sheet. So there is none that would be an umpire, that would be a mediator between myself and God, is his thought here. And so as we think about this verse, someone, we need a middleman. We need an umpire, he's saying. We need a mediator. Someone with the power to stand between two contestants and judge or arbitrate between them was called then an umpire or mediator, which is what is needed, Job is saying. Job could have found a mediator on his own level, but there was no one who could compel God to do anything. That's the thought. It's interesting when we read the New Testament, since the coming of Jesus Christ, we're told in 1 Timothy 2:5 that we have a mediator who is both God and man, and who continues to intercede on our behalf. So what a reassurance that that text brings in the struggle that Job is dealing with in Timothy. Then we move on to verse 33. Yaser me alai shifto. Let him take his rod from me. Yasir is from sur. It is a cow imperfect jussive, third masculine singular from sur. So let him take his rod, shevet meaning rod, followed by the pronominal suffix, third masculine singular. Let him cause to take his rod away from me. Ve'emato al teva atani, and let not his tear, let it not make me terrified. So let not his tear terrify me. Notice here, teva ateni is from the root ba'at, to terrify. Here we have a PL imperfect, third feminine singular from ba'at, and it is adjussive. So let not his rod or his tear make me afraid or terrify me. Then I would speak. Adabra velo iraenu in verse 35. I would then speak, and I would not fear him if he would take away this tear. I often think as I read the New Testament how Jesus has taken away that tear through his mediatory work. So adabra is from the root davar, to speak. It's a PL imperfect first common singular from dabar. I would speak and I would not fear. The root is yara, to fear. It's the cow imperfect first person common singular from yara, to fear. So I would not fear him. And the new here is from ira and hu, where the hey of the third person pronominal suffix, by reverse assimilation again, has gone back into the new. So I would not fear him. Ki lo hein anochi imadi. This is an interesting phrase, and there's been quite a discussion about it. And I'm quoting the commentary on Job in the Sonsino commentary by Reichhardt. And he is quoting on page 45, Butenweiser, who construes the cane here, or the hein, as a verbal adjective from the root kun, which combined with the negative lo in the imadi denotes mental confusion. So he renders it, as it is, my mind is thrown into confusion. Literally, I am not right with myself. And I think what he's saying here right now, without someone being a mediator and my trying to figure all this out, I am in confusion. I think that's the interpretation that seems to make sense in the context here. So God is stronger than I am, and I'm not able, without a mediator, to even approach him and feel that I'm going to get a fair hearing. So let God stop punishing me without reason, seems to be what he's pleading, and terrifying me into silence. And I would then be able to boldly state my innocency before him. But without a mediator, I can't do that. I think that's his thought. So I'm going to stop here at the end of 9, and then we'll move on at the end of chapter 9 to chapter 10, where Job will finish his speech to Bildad.